That's a pretty sweet deal. I want you to do the best job you can and take seriously your assignments, because your assignments and your research will help not only your neighbor, but the club, okay? So, you will need to develop your own file box, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But you don't have to do all 100. You don't even have to do half of them, okay? Not yourself. But it's important that we share and we do that together. You will have to, though, when it comes time for competition, you'll need to know the content of all of those, because you can't take your research buddy with you. So that's where the shared knowledge will be very important, and we'll hit the main ones so that you can feel confident that of the three that you get to choose from, you'll be able to hit a home run on certainly one or two of those three. All right? So that's kind of the goal. So you need to do original work, but we share in the research, and that's why the second thing, students may come to the event with as much preparation, research, and topic organization as they desire. All sources must be cited. I need to hit all of these, but have y'all seen this before? How many of you have seen an apologetics? How many of you have not ever seen an apologetics event? Okay, so you don't have any idea what you're in for, right? The way it works is there are 3 topics, and you go and select the 3 pieces of paper that have the 3 out of the 100 to draw from. Then you look over the topics, make a decision on which one you think you know the best, right? And then how much time do you have to prepare?
4 minutes.
4 minutes, and then your speech is?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. So
they're just turned over sheets of paper on the table. When you walk into the room, you pick one. Well, you pick 3 up, and we'll look at them for 4 minutes, figuring out which one you want to pick from.
And you can take materials in there with you. You'll take a box of note cards. So go ahead, and if you don't have 4x6 note cards, buy note cards and a box, because you're going to need that. You're going to need a note card for the topics. What we hope is by the end of the 6 weeks that we will have, you'll have, if you want all 100, you'll have 100 note cards in there. But at least you should have half that many. You should at least have 50 cards in your file box by the time that we're through. Yes?
Are we talking about like a recipe box?
Just like a recipe box.
Okay.
And it has in here the way they're supposed to be. You basically have the topic at the top, and then we'll go through how you file them and organize them. Not today, but in preparation to that. Yes.
So are the questions that they're going to pick up always going to be one of the ones that were covered?
Always.
Okay.
Always. And they keep the same 100. So that, my understanding, that doesn't change. So, if you do it this year, or you do it next year, whatever, they don't change them up every year. So, yeah, every tournament you have the same possibility, the same 100 questions. So, all right, let's see if there's anything else that I need to mention here. Okay. So you choose your topic, then you have 4 minutes, and it's a 6-minute speech. All right. With that in mind, let's go over to the FAQ on page 18. Already covered kind of what the goal of apologetics is. All the current apologetic topics used as the previous years, yes, which I just mentioned. Are competitors allowed to share file boxes? No. But notice it says they have to only use their individual file box. You can't use someone else. You have to come up with your own file box. But that doesn't mean that you have to do all the research on every card in the box. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has their own box, but we're going to share the research together. Okay. The other thing that's kind of interesting is you can't disclose what the topics are. And you also can't, once you've given your speech, you can listen to the other speeches, but you can't listen to the other speeches before you give your speech. That's kind of a little interesting kind of wrinkle on that's different than some other competitions.
Do you know why?
I'm not sure why. Why is
Okay,
it?
I'll tell you. It's because if you watch in the round, there's only so many topics to draw from. And there's a chance that the speaker that you saw did a speech on the topic
It's very
that
similar.
you drew, and so you draw the same topic that the other speaker did, and you will know exactly what they said, so you can just build off of what they said, or you'll say, oh, these are the topics they're going to present, this is the main category, I'll just think of stuff already and make sure I prepare for that category.
Yeah, well,
Very
they discard
Always
each.
within a category.
They discard the ones that they've already
Okay.
seen. All,
Yeah, but
after
each
they're done.
round is
Yeah,
within
it's-
like a
it's
category,
it's
like
Okay,
sinfulness.
so they would be related. I got you.
That's
Every
every
room
room,
I
has
got you.
every room has the same stack of questions, which you get to randomly pick 3.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. You learn something new every time. Okay.
And that's why you don't tell other competitors, because it would give them additional prep time.
And then that would be an unfair advantage,
Mhm.
which you certainly would want to give to your
Plus the
competition.
2 you present might be the ones they drew.
That's right. Okay, it's getting clearer. All right. Well, I'm going to skip over kind of the STOA rules because basically the same as the NCFCA. Does anybody else have trouble with the NCFCA kind of acronym? Except for me?
You
Yes.
have to practice it.
Yes, Deb.
I was reading the STOA
Uh-huh.
rules, and there is something addressed that I would be interested in you addressing at
Okay.
some point.
Okay, what is that?
One of the things they say, the question or topic should be
Mhm.
approached from an apologetic perspective, and the speaker should craft his or her response as if the audience is not sympathetic to the message being presented. When you're judging around,
Right,
every apologetics judge has to be
Mhm.
approved, so they're all
Mhm.
Christians.
right.
Okay, so we all know that the
Mhm.
speaker is in fact speaking to a sympathetic audience.
Correct.
But there's a lot of judging controversy around the topic of whether the student is to present as if to a general audience or non-Christian audience, or whether they're supposed to impress the other Christian with their knowledge.
Right, right. That is a good point, Kathy. I can tell you from based on what I've looked at, and certainly my bent, is, I mean, there's a place for us to learn the basic theology. But the emphasis of the class is to be able to defend your faith to those that are not convinced that the Bible's true or that Jesus is the Son of God. So I think that's a very good emphasis. And I think that's really in the true nature of what apologetics is. I mean, I've studied theology, I have a doctorate in theology, so this is not as much of a systematic theology class, although we cover an overview of systematic theology as it is the being able to articulate and defend that. So I think that's a good distinction, okay? And it's not here to prove points on, on those areas where there are perhaps disagreement on the finer
I
issues.
think that distinction is not always made clear to the judges, which is for someone else to
Okay.
work on. But
Right.
sometimes students have confusion about how
Right.
they should approach it.
Gotcha. I tell you what, if y'all would turn to page 22 for just a moment. I just kind of introduce you to the main topics. You may say, well, goodness, okay, let's say I have one of these, giant words to look up, like propitiation. I'm like, wow, explain the meaning, significance of propitiation. How do I start? Okay, that's a great question. There's either you can get like books that are basic overviews of theology. I have one in my library, The Concise Theology by J.I. Packer. It's really good, short. It's an excellent one. Or you can invest in a larger one. Or you can go online. Look at page 23. I want to make sure that you have these websites, okay? And there's one that's not mentioned here that I think you need. But notice there's the www.theopedia.com. That's a great website for theological questions. One that I would also mention to you that is important when you get to like illustrations especially is Bible.org, okay? www.bible.org. It's actually put together, that's the Dallas Theological Seminary website. Excellent website. The articles there, not as helpful on the main definitions, although you can find those there, not as easy to navigate, but a great resource for illustrations. I mean, probably the best that I've found on the web. So here's what I want you to do. If you got propitiation as your topic, you go, goodness, where do I start? Do I open Webster's? If I don't have a theological dictionary, or I don't have Wayne Gruden's systematic theology, how do I find that? Well, those are some great websites there on page 23, and you should be able to find everything that you need as far as definitions for this class there, okay? Any questions about that, any problems, feel free to email me as well, and I'll help you with it.